Guys, what's going on? It's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and I'm doing something fun and different today because when I made this channel, I was kind of really widespread. Now, lately, I've focused a lot more on audio and gaming. It's always been a passion for me, but I'm also a geek. I like lights. I like gadgets. Hence why when I started the channel, I called it Gadgetry Tech. So that brings me to the Galaxy Projector 2.0 from Galaxy Lamps. It's a $90 projector if you get it with the blue laser. It's $80 if you get it with the green laser, and the laser is used for the stars. Basically, the idea of this is to kind of paint an illumination in your room. You don't put stuff on the walls. You don't have to mount anything. You just plug it in and go. Now, this comes with the power cord. It comes with what you need in the box. It's not a super long power cord, but it's a USB-A on one side for your power source using the wall adapter, and on the other side is a barrel plug that you typically see on like a 12 volt device. So I wish it was USB-C or micro USB just in case the wire ever went bad, but it feels pretty robust. It's not too flimsy. So I like stuff like this because I like adding ambiance to different rooms. My kids absolutely love this. I get some really cool stuff, obviously, for my channel. I've loved covering things in the past. This is the most exciting thing my kids have ever seen. So if you're wondering if your kids will like it, granted, all kids are different. It's pretty safe to say flashy lights. Humans are like very smart, big insects. At least I am. I love lights. So I was interested in covering this, and I played with it for quite a while. And I'm pretty happy with most things. Now, I'll be honest and upfront in this review. It's not going to be a long one, but my goal is to help you decide if, one, you want a light like this, and if you do, if this is the right one for you. I'll put a link in the description below if this is the right one for you to purchase it. It's an affiliate link. I'll explain the details of that link in the description because who knows, things might change over time. But long story short, it'll be there if you need it. As always, we have our social media stuff down in the description too. We'd appreciate a follow there. We're trying to grow everything. So with that being said, this is a fairly straightforward process. Now, there's no rechargeable battery or anything like that. It doesn't come with a remote control. It uses your smartphone, which is compatible with Android and iPhones or iOS. So depending on your most two popular mobile operating systems, you're good to go there. Now, I just want to show you something right off the bat. This is a very power efficient device. It runs on 5 volts at 1 amp. So it's a 5 watt light projection system, which means even on this is one of my weakest, crappiest old batteries. I've had this thing forever and it still works perfectly fine, and it can run for hours on a battery. So if you're concerned with not having access to a wall plug, you can use something like a portable battery charger, and it'll run for hours and hours at a time. That's with the Bluetooth functionality enabled and everything. Now, if you don't use the app and you just want to control the projector, this little logo or this button here in the center, opposite side of the logo, can make changes to it. So this isn't the most scientific thing, but I just want to show you. Let's see how much I can get in a picture there. Okay, so I'm going to tap the button here. Let's concentrate it more. And you can see the different colors changing there. I have better footage coming, I promise. But I wanted to show you that you can, and now it's off. You can make changes with this. Now, and there's actually quite a few effects. So you can turn the blue laser on or off using the app, and we're going to start showing you the app now. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, there's something I want to show you on the design. See these little bars that go across the bottom? What's nice about these is this allows you to set the projector in different orientations. So if you use the bottom one closest to where the back plug is pointing down, now the light is effectively pointing up. Now I can rotate it like so and get a different throw. So if you need to project straight at a wall, you can. If you want to go somewhere in the middle, just depending on where you're putting it, it looks pretty subtle, but it's actually fairly stable. And why don't we leave that firing on the back wall? So it's versatile enough for different setups. And I did test, if you're concerned with how far you have to move this to get a wide space coverage, I measured it in a few different cases. So if you have 9 feet of height, so let's say this is on the floor and you have a 9-foot ceiling, you get about 10 feet of throw. If you get 15 feet of ceiling, which is obviously a very high ceiling, you can easily pass 16 to almost 20 feet of throw, meaning you can really fill a large room quite nicely if you have the height. So take advantage of corners in your room. Placing it in there might give you a little bit more to work with. Or if you just want to beam it on a wall, now you can kind of measure it if you're trying to fill the entire thing. So I think that's important because not all projectors are created equal there. Some are 360, some do fire forward, but they're more concentrated. Some are very wide, and it can create distortion effects because they're using a lens to blow out, basically make a wide angle projection. This was able to keep the light projection fairly tight, and it almost produces a kind of a 3D holographic effect. So I'm showing you that now, and there's some really cool colors that it can do. Now this is RGB, but it's not that they use single LEDs that are RGB. They have a red LED, green, and blue LED. Now that might be part of the thing that's helping with power efficiency. However, because of that configuration, you can't get a full yellow. If you just want a yellow nebula cloud, if you will, it's basically going to be more red and green. It does a little bit of a crossover. I know that doesn't sound great, but just keep in mind that you're not going to be able to dial in a million different color configurations because it says RGB. It's just merging the two. And what happens is if you go red, or you're going towards an orangey red, you're going to see mostly red and then a little bit of a tinge to it of your other LEDs to try to compensate for that. So it's not full RGB, but you know, if you like the purples and blues and greens, it excels there because that's their natural light output. Now, moving on to the laser projection, the stars are really wide as well. I got the same throw pattern, no problem. So there's actually two different, let me turn this off. There are two different light emitting, let's see if I can get that in focus. So that is what's projecting out. Now, this does not get warm. I could run this for hours and it's not gonna hurt. So if we're about kids touching it, they're more likely to have headaches if they stare at it. This is not to be stared into. So that's like that with any projection device like this. Don't look directly at it. You will likely get headaches. So if you worry about kids, maybe put it up a little bit higher. I know it shortens the space, but it may protect their eyes. Anyway, so that's how this is set up. Now you can operate them both separately. We use the app typically to make all our changes. Now the app not only lets you, so it's kind of interesting the way the color configuration works. You can choose your color of RGB. And if I go full red and my saturation is maxed out, which is the bottom slider, now I see the red nebula, and I can choose to also have the blue stars on or off, thus controlling my output. Now if I keep the brightness turned up, which is the top slider, but I slide the saturation down, it still favors red, but now you're going to see the blue and the green LEDs come back and start filling out that space. So depending on what kind of look you want, you have brightness as an option for both laser and the RGB side for the nebula formation. Then you have saturation, which is choosing how heavily you're favoring the color choice that you selected. Now there are predefined scenes. There's romance, there's peaceful, I think sleep. I'm not going to try to go through every single thing on it, but they have predefined scenes with different color palettes, different light animations, because you can change the rotational speed. Even the lasers, you can change the rotational speed. I didn't like some of the scenes because they flash, meaning it goes instantly from red to green, and it can be kind of jarring. I like the pulse or the fade effects more because I want it to be a smoother transition from color to color. Now you can modify your scenes and create your own, which I really like. So if you're like me and you don't like that hard transition from one color to the next for any reason, you can easily do that. And to me, that made it a lot nicer. So it's been very reliable. Now, as far as actual operation, I'm going to plug this back in because I want you to hear that it's effectively silent. This is a very quiet unit, which is great. Some of these can make some noise. That's not the case with this one. And so if you are using this at night and you're trying to help the kids fall asleep, or you just don't want this to be a distraction because you're doing other things in the room, I'm pleased to say it's quiet there. So, I mean, nothing. You probably hear my kids in the background playing over this. It's pretty much silent. I don't think I can hear anything even when I have the lasers going and spinning. Nothing. So that's huge. So it runs cool. It's efficient. The app looks a little old school, outdated. That's what most RGB apps right now. It's not like this state-of-the-art, super expensive system, but once you get used to it, it works just fine. You just have to understand how the controls work. I just find that I spent more time customizing the color settings than anything else. to kind of fit the scheme, you know, I was going for in my room. You can set timers, so if you want this to turn on and off by itself because it uses Bluetooth, you can do that. It'll also use your phone as a jump point to the network, and you can actually use Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant to turn the light on and off too. So it's a pretty versatile device. I'm not going to drag this out. I think, as you saw in some of the demo content, the footage of it's actually really pretty, and it's almost trippy. The cloud formations are really cool, the nebula clouds. I love the way it produces on the ceiling. It almost like makes a 3D effect to it. And then the lasers, it's your choice off and on. Now, if I had to nitpick anything else outside of the RGB bulb design for maximizing your color settings, the star array isn't a perfectly random array. It's almost like it's punched through in a grid formation, kind of like a zigzag approach. It's not terrible, and if there's some movement, it's okay. Some people are really OCD about stuff like that, and it can bother them. But again, you're getting a very high quality product under $100 that has good light output. Seems very easy to use, and it's well made. Even the button on it to turn it on and off is super solid. So I've been happy with it. I hope this helps you decide if it's the right one for you. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me a comment. I'll do my best to answer it. But I like stuff like this. My kids absolutely love it. It's set the mood really well for things like movie night. You know, you have nothing else turned on but that on the ceiling. I'll turn the stars off and just have the nebula illuminating the room while we watch a movie, and that's produced a really cool effect. And I can run that in the battery, so I don't have to worry about running extension cords or tripping over anything. So anyway, thank you guys so much for the support. As always, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.